Cedis. He attributed this positive outlook to effective monetary policies aimed at controlling inflation and reinforcing the currency. Speaking at the opening of the Monetary Policy Committee's 124th meeting on May 21, 2025, he assured Ghanaians and investors that the Cedis' recent gains are sustainable and there is no cause for concern about its long-term stability.
In March, the committee responded decisively to the inflation outlook by raising the policy rate by 100 basis points to 28%. Preliminary evidence right now suggests this action has contributed to dampening inflation momentum. And importantly, the cedi has appreciated sharply by nearly 19% between April and May, helping to ease imported inflation pressures and restoring public confidence. The appreciation of the cedi reflects a combination of factors, including prudent monetary policy, the improved market sentiment, as well as the external sector gains that we are witnessing.
Meanwhile, Governor Dr. Johnson Esiama acknowledged ongoing challenges, especially inflation risk from food supply issues and global trade tensions. He said the Bank of Ghana is reviewing its monetary policy framework to improve liquidity, boost private sector credit, and ensure effective inflation control. He urged the Monetary Policy Committee to assess if the current stance supports disinflation without harming growth.
Outlook, while improving, remains vulnerable to second-round effects. Food supply constraints are still with us, especially from northern Ghana and the Sahel, and external price shocks, particularly given volatile global commodity markets. There are also geopolitical tensions and evolving global trade dynamics, including the recent US-led tariff disputes. These have heightened market uncertainty and could affect commodity prices, could affect exchange rates, and could affect financial flows in emerging markets like ours. In this context, colleagues, the bank has commenced.
Dr. John Gachi and Dr. John Kwache have been appointed as advisors to the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Esiama. Joining them are Franklin Bailin, former head of banking supervision, and Dr. Francis Kuma, a former IMF representative for Ghana. Gloria Corte, former head of HR at the bank, has been retained as an advisor. These individuals will assist the governor in central bank policy decisions. Dr. Esiama gave details of the appointment in the opening ceremony, in the opening of Monetary Policy Committee meeting.
Advisors, the staff are already aware of them. Dr. Kwachi is seated on my left. Please wave to the media so they get to know you. He's not here for IEA. He's here for the bank. He's now an advisor with us, substantive member, part of the family. We also have Professor Gachi, John Gachi, who is a well-known figure. Professor Gachi is one of our advisors. He's here on a mission.
In more news, banking consultant and dean of the Faculty of Accounting at UPSA, that is University of Professional Studies, Accra, Professor Isaac Boedi, has downplayed suggestions that the city's recent appreciation is the result of credible government policy. Speaking on ABC in the morning, he argued that the new administration cannot currently point to any tangible policy measures that directly account for the country's gains.
People have ascribed the gains to fiscal discipline of this administration. And for me, I may differ because I have not seen tangible or some credible policy put in place that have contributed to this. And remember, the game changer, which is the 24-hour economy, that extending business hours beyond the normal schedule, that has not been implemented yet. So what could trigger this? And for me, that's what the BNG governor said. People have ascribed the gains to.
While acknowledging Ghana's rising gold and foreign reserve buffers, Professor Isaac Boadi warned that these must be managed wisely to prevent slippage. He emphasized that volatility has long been a consistent threat to the economy, and without deliberate long-term planning, recent gains could quickly unravel. The call is for the government to remain cautious, use buffers strategically, and pursue measures that anchor the economy against external shocks.
I've been thinking over a period when we started recording the gains that our government should also listen to us, that this could be a short-term measure. And we have said copiously that, look, you are having these gains mainly because some other individual contractors, external contractors, or who you have to pay are yet to be paid. And therefore, there will be pressure on your currency. But when you start paying them, some will take in dollars. So you're going to have pressure. When you start paying the IPP, which payments sometimes, the old administration were deferred, you have pressure on your currency again. So look out for things that will be able to sustain the gains you have made. And for me, the way to go is to stimulate production in our country. A country that imports more than we export. A country that consumes more than we produce. Two characteristics of this country. If you have such a country, you always, no matter the short gains that you make, you come back and your city will crash. So with things that will stimulate production, things that will have import substitution.
Away from that, Ghana's producer price inflation dropped sharply to 18.5% in April 2025 from 24.4% in March, according to the Ghana Statistical Service. This marks the third straight monthly decline and signaling easing price pressures at the factory level. This 5.9 percentage point fall was mainly driven by reduced inflation in the mining and manufacturing sectors, which together accounted for nearly 95% of April's producer price inflation. Month-on-month producer prices fell by 0.8%, indicating deflation. Producers earned slightly less for their goods compared to March. The industrial sector saw year-on-year inflation of 20.8%, construction 13.9%, and services 5.9%. Key contributors to inflation included mining support services and metal ore mining, while some sectors like crude oil and petroleum products experienced price declines. The manufacturing of basic metals and motor vehicles saw the highest inflation rate, while services like information and communication had the lowest. Government statistician Dr. Alhassan Idrisu noted in a press briefing that while the slowing inflation provides an opportunity for price stability, it also calls for strategic actions by stakeholders. Moving on, according to the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition, Ghana will need approximately $562 billion to fully implement its energy transition agenda by 2070. The announcement comes as the country prepares for construction of its first nuclear power plant by 2027, forming part of long-term plans to diversify energy sources and reduce carbon emissions. This is a massive investment, but it is essential for our sustainable future, the ministry emphasized during a stakeholder engagement on Ghana's energy transition framework held on Wednesday, May 21 in Accra. Dr. Robert Sobaji, Deputy Director for Renewables and Green Energy Technologies at the Energy Ministry, highlighted ongoing projects as critical steps toward the transition. We are developing 33 new solar mini-grids for island communities, he said, noting these projects demonstrate progress towards cleaner, decentralized energy. The ministry also stressed the need for increased collaboration between government, private sector players, and international partners to meet the ambitious financial and infrastructure demands of the energy roadmap. Let's take a look at today's exchange rates. That is all for local news. Now to the international front. Despite having favorable weather conditions, Nigeria's cocoa industry still trails behind competitors like Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire. Almost 40 years after abolishing the controversial Cocoa Marketing Board in 1986, which farmers had blamed for stifling progress, the Nigerian government is now proposing a new regulatory body. On May 5, Agriculture Minister Abubakar Kairi announced that President Tinubu's cabinet had approved a bill to establish a National Cocoa Management Board. Unlike its predecessor, the new body will regulate the sector without controlling prices. The government sees the move as a strategic opportunity to strengthen the cocoa industry, which has seen prices surge by 400% over the past 3 years, reaching up to $12,000 per ton. Between 2023 and 2024, cocoa export value soared to 2.7 trillion naira, that is $1.7 billion, thanks to strong global demand and currency depreciation. With oil production underperforming and prices falling below budgeted expectations, cocoa is increasingly viewed as a promising alternative to boost Nigeria's export revenue and reduce reliance on oil. Moving on, the Central Bank of Nigeria has retained the monetary policy rate at 27.5%, signaling a cautious approach amid ongoing economic reforms. The decision, reached unanimously at the Central Bank of Nigeria's 300 Monetary Policy Committee meeting, was announced by Governor Olayemi Cardoso on Tuesday in Abuja. Cardoso said maintaining the rate allows the bank time to assess the impact of earlier policy shifts on inflation and growth. The liquidity ratio and cash reserve ratio were also held at 30% and 50% respectively. That is all for business news update here on ABC News Ghana Television. My name is Peggy Nyakwambano.